I'll take it, Your Honor. Thank you. Morning. I didn't get a chance to say anything yesterday. My name is Thad Mueller. I'm Assistant District Attorney. I've been with the DA's office about 10 years. Not about 10 years, 10 years. First 3 years I covered Calvin and Chickasaw County, so tried many cases down here. I'm covering Chippewa County now. This is, as the judge said, opening statement. This is just my opportunity and the defense's opportunity to just tell you a little bit about the case. What we anticipate on presenting is evidence. You're going to hear from several witnesses. You're going to hear from family members of Kirby Carpenter. You're going to hear from law enforcement from Chippewa County, Mississippi. You're going to hear from law enforcement in Smith County, Virginia, who handled the latter part of the investigation. You're going to hear from a person from an officer from the Ripon Police Department who was involved in this. You're going to see evidence from phone extractions or phone dumps, as they're commonly called. You're going to see photographs that we're going to publish some of them on the television so you can get a clearer view. It's a lot easier than just passing around a photograph among you so you can all see it at once. You'll see a few videos and other documentary evidence. All this evidence will be presented to you over the next couple of days. And your job as the jury, as you were told yesterday by the judge and during the voir dire, is you're the trier of fact. All right? You judge the credibility of the witnesses. Who do you believe? Who do you not believe? And importantly, you judge the weight of the evidence. What evidence is important to you in making your decision? What evidence is important to you? And when the proof is all in, when we've rested, the defense is rested, the judge will charge you with the law. These are the laws as applicable to this crime that he's charged with, which is capital murder. And you will take those facts and apply them to the law, deliberate, and reach your conclusion, reach your verdict. Now, if I get this off the tape. Who was Kirby Carpenter? That's why we're here. Kirby's from Chippewa County, Mississippi. He's the son of Maddie Jane and Jared. He's a brother of two sisters, Casey and Wendy. He's got 3 other brothers. He was a father. He has 2 children, Enola and Towns. 2 small children. He's a Marine Corps veteran, a musician, an outdoorsman, an entrepreneur, a businessman who owns several businesses in and around Chippewa County, Mississippi. He dabbled in a lot of things. Sold antique cars, sold coins. He had a business in Ripley called North Mississippi Gold, Silver, and Coin Exchange. He was really, the proof will show he was a self-made man. Everything he made himself. And the proof will also show that he was financially successful in doing this. Now, he was killed, the proof will show, on November 30th of 2022 at around 7 p.m. at his home. He was shot with a shotgun, killed with buckshot wounds to the neck and the chest. The proof will show that. After he was shot, the proof will show he was drugged from his garage and around the side of the house and covered with a curtain or a tarp that was secured by a toolbox from a pickup truck that was empty and light. That's security. His body was not discovered until 12:30, about 2 days later, on the 2nd day of December of 2022. His body was discovered by Caitlin, who was the mother of Enola and who lived at the residence. Now, a little background on the Spences. Jeff and Karen Spence, Jeff being the defendant, Karen being his wife, are from Pennsylvania. They had 2 daughters, Carolyn and Caitlin. Raised their kids in Pennsylvania. Carolyn goes to college, graduates, moves to North Carolina, and the Spences migrate down and move in with them. Follow them to Virginia, where they move in with them also. Proof's going to show that relationship soured. Now, Caitlin found her way to Mississippi because she went to vet school at Mississippi State. After that was over, over. She didn't finish. She ended up working for Tractor Supply in Booneville. She met Kirby Carpenter in about 2020. The Tractor Supply store that she worked at was close to a liquor store that Kirby owned and operated, one of his many businesses in Booneville, and they began a relationship. They moved in together, and in July of 2022, their child Manola was born. The Spences, Jeff and Karen, who by this time were estranged from Carolyn and her family, moved in to help out with the baby. The families, the Carpenters, and the Spences all spent Thanksgiving of 2022 together. According to Kaylin's testimony, Jeff and Karen Spence left on November 29th between 1 and 3 p.m. They lived in Saltville, Virginia, which is a small town in the southwest corner of Virginia. It's about an 8 to 9 hour drive from the location where they lived in Tippah County, which is fairly close to Ripley. Now, the proof's going to show that on the 30th day of November, which is the significant day because that's the day Kirby was murdered, that Caitlin got up about 5:30 in the morning to go to work. Her parents had gone, and she had to make arrangements for Noah. All right, so she had a friend in Booneville whose name was Bailey Reese. So she gets up at 5:30, she leaves, she gets ready for work, gets to Noah, leaves the house. Testimony will be that Kirby was asleep in the bed at 5:30 in the morning, or 6 o'clock when she left. She drops Noah off with Bailey, and I believe she goes to Memphis to do some work. Throughout the day, and we'll show this through the phone extractions, the phone dumps, Kirby and Caitlin are exchanging texts. You know, where are you? The proof's going to show that Kirby went to Kroger in Corinth and bought some lamb chops and other groceries. They're exchanging texts. Caitlin goes back to Booneville, picks up a Noah. We can confirm that she was at Walmart in Booneville at 7:31. She stays in the parking lot, breastfeeds her baby, and gets home about 8 to 8:30 that night. Now again, the proof will show that Kirby was shot about 7:15 on the 30th. Now, Kirby's body is discovered by Caitlin at 12:30 on 12/2/22. So what happens on 12/1? Well, text will show that nobody knows where Kirby is. She's texted, "Where are you? Are you in the deer stand? I'm worried. I've got to take Noah to the doctor." So all these texts reportedly show that she's trying to find him. At 12:30, she's on the phone with Maddie Jane, who's Kirby's mother, and she's worried out of her mind. And Maddie Jane is going to call the sheriff. 12:30, Caitlin discovers the body. 911 call. Law enforcement comes out, and the investigation ensues. The investigation continued over the summer. It reached a point in November 30th, exactly 1 year to the date. The Spences had gone back to Virginia following Kirby's memorial service, which was on December 17th of 2022. They went back, the proof's going to show they went back to Virginia on the 20th of December of 2022. Did not return to Mississippi until they were arrested in Virginia and brought back. And here we sit. Now, the investigation in Virginia is significant. Virginia law enforcement, namely Brad Johnson, who you will hear from probably tomorrow, conducted an investigation of numerous bank boxes that had been opened by the defendant, Mr. Spence. And the proof's going to show that in those bank boxes were personal items that belonged to Kirby Carpenter. Now, Kirby was known to carry a satchel that contained a lot of money. That was his standard course. And also carried a firearm, which is not unusual for somebody who carries a lot of cash. And the satchel never was found. The gun was never found. There were bullets in his pockets, but the gun was never found. And we will prove that Mr. Spence took items from Kirby, personal items, including that we'll be able to show through the bank box searches when he killed Kirby. Now later on, and I'm kind of jumping back and forth, after the body was discovered, the Spences came back to Mississippi on the 3rd. Remember, they left on the 20th. They came back on the 3rd, and proof will show that on the 4th, that Mr. Spence was taking bags of silver coins and placing them in his cabin. And you will hear proof that items that Kirby dealt with, gold, silver, collectible coins, and other memorabilia, because he collected everything, were discovered in Virginia. No doubt some of them were taken after the murder, but some were taken the night of the murder. Now, Jeff Spence's defense is, hey, I wasn't there. I left on the 29th between 1 and 3. Didn't come back to the 3rd. We'll prove otherwise. Now again, it's your job to judge the evidence. Our case that we put on, we invite you to judge the evidence. Judge the credibility of the witnesses. Judge the evidence that we put on. And in the end, we're going to ask you to return a guilty verdict against Mr. Spence for the murder of Kirby Carpenter on November 30th of 2019.